Hello again. So we understand that at this hour at least, events will start at the ANC's Electoral Conference. According to the official program, 9:15 was the start time for the president of the party to deliver the political report. Pule Mabe, in talking to members of the media a little bit earlier on, saying there's nothing unusual, going as far as saying Gilenyalo la rena or Lenyalo ke la rena, loosely translated, it's our wedding, so sit tight. We'll start as and when the processes of registration are completed. But what to read in this moment, if anything at all, especially given the card that the former President Jacob Zuma played last night or yesterday afternoon. We understand this happened at about 1 o'clock when he started that litigation process against the sitting president of the African National Congress. Well, Dr. Omry is joining us now. He is an ANC veteran to help us make sense in terms of what it is that you are hearing. And Dr. Makgoale, thank you very much for availing yourself. One member of the party, Pule Mabe, says, well, there's nothing to worry about. Don't put the ANC under pressure. We'll start when it's time to start because we want to make sure the right delegates are also in the room. Another member speaking to my colleague Clement Manyatela a few moments ago saying, well, there is chaos at registration. Is this something new?
No, nothing new at the moment. What I would say is that what Pule Mabe is saying, I think maybe must be understood. It's normal that when you have accreditation at ANC conferences because of many logistical issues, because comrades come from across the country, others from the Western Cape, others from Limpopo, others from KZN, Eastern Cape. So the transport becomes a factor. So normally it's not easy to have all the delegates arriving at the same time, at the right time at the locations of the conferences. So it's quite normal. I think in this case, maybe I understand what Pule Mabe is saying when he's saying it's our wedding, and so on. But the confusion that the other comrade is talking about is also normal under the conditions because accreditation problems has been a problem since ANC, came back from the country. We have these accreditation problems because everybody wants to attend this elective conference. So for the simple reason that this is access to resources. When you attend these conferences, then you are maybe entering the door of state power, municipal power, and all those things. So it's seen as access to resources. And this is why many people try by all hook and crook to attend as delegates. And sometimes you find that some of them are not legitimate delegates. So that's why there's confusion. There is confusion. You find that there would be parallel delegates from same places in some cases.
Yeah, you mentioned that people will try and access the venue by hook or crook. As we understand it, there's some 4,500 voting delegates. Pule Mabe indicating that some 90% of those have already been processed and they're registered. They'll make their way into the venue. But you mentioned something, especially in terms of access to resources. Mzwandile Masina, speaking to Clement Manyatela a few moments ago, alluded to the buying of ANC members. Is this something that you are hearing whispers about?
Yeah, I think the buying of the vote is common. In the last 4 conferences of ANC, the buying of the vote has been common, has been done at different, all these conferences in different ways. In the past, they used to bribe delegates to say, when you vote, show us what you voted, who you voted for, and then they will give you the balance of the money that for bribery. And sometimes, so they change. Sometimes they want to see the photos of who you voted for. You must take the ballot and so on. So, and they give all sorts of monies for delegates because of the electoral law inside the ANC. As we are saying, we need to change how we elect leaders inside the ANC. We need ANC general elections in future where all ANC members will have the right to nominate leaders and will also have the right to elect leaders. At the moment, it's only 2% of ANC members that are there in that Newzroom place. That 4,000 you're talking about is 2% of ANC members. 98% of ANC members are not there, including myself, of course. I'm not there. But somebody is going to vote on my behalf. So one delegate has power to vote for 50 people. And this is why when you buy that delegate, you actually buy 50 votes. And this is why we need to change the system once and for all.
How should we understand your absence in light of what you just said, that somebody could pretend to be you?
No, not really. In this case, somebody is not going to pretend to be me, but somebody is going to vote for me. Somebody will be representing my branch, a delegate from my branch, who will then, because one delegate represents 50 members. So that person will be voting for the 49 other people who are not there. So as to what these 49 people are going to vote for, nobody can know. And this is why they bribed this one delegate, so that all the 50 votes are then going to a particular person who has paid the money. And that's why they buy the vote. And it will be there until we change how we elect leaders inside the ANC.
Dr. Makgoale, what's the going rate for a vote? How much does a vote go for? It fetches for how much, typically?
It depends. It depends. They are not the same. If you have to bribe somebody in the urban areas of, Johannesburg, Gauteng, Durban City, Durban area, you might need to fork out more or promise them tenders of a railway line or pipeline that their company will get this tender and so on and so on. And for those who come from the villages, in the past they used to give them 20,000 others or 50,000. And when you come from a rural village, somewhere in the, I don't want to mention the provinces, but many of these rural areas, provinces, if you come from there and they give you 50,000, they say you vote for so-and-so. When you go back to your village, you're really wealthy because you can buy maybe 10 goats and even have change. And in the village, then they will know that this man comes from the ANC conference. So it depends. The value, I think, varies and changes. But they buy them. That's known, And unfortunately, that's where some people make money out of ANC conferences.
Sure. You speak of a need for change in the system, essentially in how the ANC conducts its business with elective conferences. But if there's a jukebox and all you have to do is just put in a coin, what do you do? Take away the person that is putting in the coin or remove the jukebox? It sounds like, especially saying this has been going on for so many years. What do you do? You just put in the money in the jukebox and every year it happens.
No, it doesn't. It's not like the jukebox. You see, there are people who are, all these people who campaign for various seats. For instance, in 2017, when we had 7 candidates, all those 7 candidates had their campaign managers. And the campaign managers would be having some budget from their bosses and how to go about who to give this money to get this vote and so on. And so it's not straightforward like that, So, but the campaign managers will be doing that. But in this case, of course, this year with 2 candidates, President Ramaphosa and Zweli Mkhize, it's not much money that's going to be used, in my mind, like in the other, situations. And in my mind, I think President Ramaphosa maybe is going to run through with it without much problems. I don't think Zweli Mkhize has got any serious chance to upset the apple. I don't think so.
Dr. Makgoale, your thought on the former president litigating against a sitting president?
It's just shameful. It's embarrassing that, because he has lost, he's no longer in power, and his slates and the faction are no longer in power. He's trying to remove Ramaphosa at all costs, and maybe trying to say he must be charged so that he can step aside and so on. He's just desperate. He's just desperate to try and remove Ramaphosa. I don't think he's got much chance personally, but he will try, of course, because it is in his interest to remove Ramaphosa so that the slate of the Guptas and the Watson can come back and ruin the country further. It's just disappointing, but I don't think he's got any chance in my mind.
Do you perceive this is something that the sitting president is bothered with?
Well, he should be bothered with in one way or another, because it depends on whether there's any valid case in what the former president is putting forward. But I think the lawyers would advise the current president as to what are the merits of this case that the former president is putting across. So they should listen to him, because if he, as you see, the Pala story is an issue that cannot be ignored completely. So they should listen to it, but I don't think it will remove President Ramaphosa from office or from winning the elections again.
Thank you very much to Omry Makgoale for availing yourself this afternoon.